Good morning, friends. You're most welcome to ThinkEye's channel. Today we are going to discuss Ghatnachakra for environment, and our topic is Rio de Janeiro plus 20 conference. Rio plus 20 conference. Rio plus 20 is the short name for the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development. This conference was held in Brazil in June 2012 to mark the 20th anniversary of the 1992 United Nations Conference on Environment and Development (UNCED) in Rio de Janeiro. The conference's outcome document entitled The Future We Want was a call to action for government, businesses, and the United Nations alike to support countries interested in the transition to a green economy. PAGE means Partnership for Action on Green Economy was created as UN's direct response to this call of action. Organizations and institutions, national and international organizations and institutions are established for environmental conservation and protection. National Environmental Engineering Research Institute NEERI is situated in Nagpur, Maharashtra. It was established as Central Public Health Engineering Research Institute CPHERI CFERI in 1958 to focus on water supply, sewage disposal and related diseases, and to some extent on industrial pollution. NEERI is a pioneering laboratory in the field of environmental science and engineering and part of Council of Scientific and Industrial Research CSIR. NEERI has 5 zonal laboratories at Chennai, Delhi, Hyderabad, Kolkata and Mumbai. NEERI works under the Ministry of Science and Technology for the Government of India. The National Environment Appellate Authority NEA and EAA, better known as NEA, was set up by the Ministry of Environment and Forest to address cases in which environment clearances were required in certain restrictions areas or certain restricted areas. It was established by the National Environment Appellate Authority Act 1997 to hear appeals with respect to restriction of areas in which any industries, operations or processes shall or shall not be carried out subject to certain safeguards under the Environment Protection Act 1986. The World Meteorological Organization WMO provides a framework for international cooperation in the development of meteorology and operational hydrology and their practical applications. WMO is an intergovernmental organization with a membership of 193 member states and territories. WMO was originated from the International Meteorological Organization IMO, which was founded in 1873 to facilitate the exchange of weather information across national borders. WMO became a specialized agency of the United Nations on 17th March 1951. World Meteorological Convention was implemented on 23rd March 1950. WMO has its headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland. Its current Secretary General is Petteri Talas and President is Gerhard Adrian of Germany. UNEP United Nations Environment Programme was established in 1972. It is headquartered in Nairobi, Kenya. Head of UNEP is Inger Andersen of Denmark. EPA Environment Protection Agency is an agency of the United States of America. It was established on December 2, 1970 for enforcing standards and laws that promote the health of human individuals and the environment. Greenpeace International is a non-governmental organization. Its headquarters is in Amsterdam, Netherlands. NITI, National Institutions for Transforming India. Niti Aayog is a nodal institution for coordination and implementation of sustainable development goals in India. Acts related to environment conservation. Some acts are passed for promoting conservation of environment. The Environment Protection Act was passed in India in 1986. In India, the Environment Protection Act 1986 is also known as umbrella legislation. The 1986 Act was passed for the purpose of implementation of decisions that were taken by United Nations Conference on the Human Environment held in Stockholm in 1973. The Environment Protection Act 1986 was enacted after Bhopal gas tragedy under Article 253 of the Constitution of India. This act provides a framework to the central government for coordination of the activities of various central and state authorities under various previous laws. The Genetic Engineering Approval Committee is constituted under the Environment Protection Act 1986 on July 22nd, 2010. Genetic Engineering Approval Committee was renamed as Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee. The National Green Tribunal was established on October 18, 2010 under the National Green Tribunal Act 2010 for effective and expeditious disposal of cases relating to environmental protection and conservation of forests to the to provide the right to healthy environment construed as the part of right to life under Article 21. Let's see. Justice Adarsh Kumar Goel is the President Chairman or Chairperson of the National Green Tribunal. It was established to solve the problems relating to environmental safety, forest conservation, enforcement of legal rights, and to provide compensation to the victim for their property damage. This tribunal will help to reduce the number of trials which are pending in high courts. Tribunal is bound to solve applications and petition within 1 month from the time of their filing. Environment, some important facts for exams. Excess urbanization and industrialization is a challenge for sustainable development, ecology and environment, and biodiversity conservation. Green Development is a book written by W.M. Adams. The full name of this book is Green Development, Environment and Sustainability in a Developing World. First edition of this book was published in the year 1990. Masanobu Fukuoka, the discoverer and innovator of natural farming, was a Japanese farmer and philosopher. Australia launched Green Army for environmental conservation, in which 15,000 youngsters of age between 17 to 24 years will be recruited under an agreement between Markfed of Punjab and Sayag Group of Israel. On 21st April 2001, the vegetables are grown by greenhouse farming in Punjab. Mixed cropping, organic manures, nitrogen fixing plants, and pest resistant crops varieties are the best strategy for environment friendly sustainable development in agriculture. The underlying dimension of sustainable development goal means SDG targets, are closely related to education and health aspect, as evident in the positive correlation between HDI Human Development Index and SDG rankings of the Indian states. World Environment Day is celebrated on 5th June. The first World Environment Day was celebrated in 1974. Stockholm Summit was held in 1972. It was the first World Summit on Environment. It was decided in the summit that World Environment Day will be celebrated on 5th June every year. In 2018, theme of World Environment Day was Beat Plastic Pollution. India was the global host of 2018 World Environment Day. World Environment Day 2019 was hosted by China with the theme of air pollution. In 2020, theme of World Environment Day is biodiversity. This year's host is Colombia in partnership with Germany. Pakistan hosted World Environment Day 2021. This year's observance of World Environment Day's theme was ecosystem restoration. World Environmental Day 2022 theme only one Earth focus on living sustainably in harmony with nature. World Environmental Day 2022 theme only one Earth focus on living sustainably in harmony with nature. 2022 marks 50 years Science Stockholm Conference, which led to the designation of 5th June as World Environment Day. Basic questions. First is given below. There are two statements, one labeled as assertion and other labeled as reason. Assertion A: sustainable development is important for well-being of human society. Reason R: sustainable development is a kind of development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Answer is both A and R are true, and R is correct explanation of A. Sustainable development is important for well-being of human society. Sustainable development has been defined in many ways. The most frequently quoted definition is from Our Common Future, also known as the Brundtland Report. Sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Second is arrangement, or arrange the following events in chronological order and select the correct answer from the codes given below. First is Rio Summit, second is publication of Brundtland Commission report, third is enforcement of Montreal Protocol, fourth is publication of the Limit to Growth report. B is the right answer. First is publication of the Limit to Growth report 1972. Second is publication of Brundtland Commission report August 1987. Third is enforcement of Montreal Protocol January 1989 and Rio Earth Summit June 1992. The discussion on sustainable development was started after submitting a report on environment to the United Nations in 1987. The report was Our Common Future. After the submission of the report, Our Common Future, also known as the Brundtland Report, which was published by the World Commission on Environment and Development (WCED) in 1987, the discussion on sustainable development was started. After the submission of the report Our Common Future, also known as the Brundtland Report, which was published by the Commission on Environment and Development (WCED) in 1987, the discussion on sustainable development was started. Fourth is environment refers to all the above, means the natural world of land, water, air, plants, and animals that exist around it, the sum total of conditions which surround it or which surround human beings at a given point of time, the interacting system of physical, biological, and cultural elements which are interlinked. The word environment is derived from the French word environ, which means to encircle or surround. The environment is a very broad concept and involves everything that affects an organism during its lifetime. It is the totality of all social, biological, physical, and chemical elements individually as well as collectively that compose nature and human made surroundings. It refers to the total of conditions which surround man at a given point in space and time. The environment is defined as the social, cultural, and physical conditions that surround, affect, and influence the survival, growth, and development of people, animals, or plants, as defined in the Environment Protection Act 1986. Environment includes water, air, and land, and the interrelationship which exist among and between water, air, and land, and human beings, other living creatures, plants, microorganisms, and property. Next question, fifth is which of the following is not related to environmental protection? तो हमें यहाँ पर we have to select the wrong answer. Wrong answer is B, poverty alleviation. And which of the following are related to the environmental protection, sustainable development, air conditioning, and use of paper bags? Sustainable development and use of paper bags have a positive impact on the environment, while air conditioning has a negative impact on the environment as it affects the ozone layer. Poverty alleviation has both positive and negative impact on the environment. Alternatively, poverty is indirectly linked to the environment, whereas sustainable development, use of paper bags, and air conditioning directly affects the environment. So, if we consider the positive impact on the environment from poverty alleviation, the Environment Protection Act of India was enacted in 1986. The Environment Protection Act of India was enacted in 1986. It extends the whole of India. It extends to the whole of India. Seventh is when the Environment Protection Act for Preservation and Protection of the Environment was passed by the Government of India 1986. In which of the following years the Environment Protection Act was passed, that is 1986. The Environmental Protection Act in India was enacted in which of the following years? 1986 AD. Environment is a composite state of biotic factors, physiographic factors, abiotic factors. The environment may be divided into biotic and abiotic environments. The biotic environment is made up of biotic factors, that is all living things in the environment. The abiotic or physical environment is made up of all the physical factors that affect organisms. Example, temperature, light intensity, and the amount of available water, etc. 11th question is generally environment can be classified as following categories. Which among the following is not a part of the such category? We have to choose wrong answer. Operational environment. Generally environment can be classified as the following category. Which among the following are a part of such category? Physical environment, cultural environment, biological environment. Let's see the answer. Generally, environment can be classified as physical, cultural, and biological environment. Physical environment includes landforms, water bodies, climate, soils, rocks, minerals, etc. Biological environment includes plants, animals, microorganisms, etc. Whereas cultural environment includes man-made features such as economical, social, and political elements. Sustainable development is a matter of intergenerational sensibility in respect of the use of natural resources. The concept of sustainable development was emphasized by the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development UNCED, which defined it as development that meets the need of the present generation without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their needs. Sustainable development is a matter of intergenerational sensibility in respect of the use of natural resources. The main objective of sustainable development is the just and prudent use of natural resources, its conservation, and proper management. This term was explained in WCED World Commission on Environment and Development report of 1987 titled Our Common Futures. Sustainable development was fully supported in the Agenda 21 Rio Declaration declared in a summit held in 1992. Sustainable development was a prominent issue of the Johannesburg Summit 2002. Notably, the United Nations has identified 17 Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) which have to be realized by 2030. A Sustainable Development Index has also been initiated to measure the progress made by different nations in the direction of the achieving these goals. Importantly, India was ranked 120th out of 165 nations in Sustainable Development Index 2021. SDG Index Sustainable Development Index 2021 position and rank and the country. First is Finland, second Sweden, third Denmark, fourth Germany, fifth Belgium, 120th India, 129 Pakistan. What is blue carbon? Carbon captured by ocean and coastal ecosystem. Blue carbon is simply the term for carbon captured by the world's ocean and coastal ecosystem. Sea grasses, mangroves, and salt marshes along our coast capture and hold carbon, acting as something called as carbon sink. This coastal system, though much smaller in size than the planet's forests, sequester this carbon at a much faster rate and can continue to do so for millions of years, saving energy and other resources for the future without sacrificing people's comfort in the present. Is the definition of which of the following concept? Sustainable development. Which of the following sustainable development goal SDG will target the water availability for all its permanent management up to 2030 in India? SDG 6. The United Nations has identified 17 SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, which have to be realized by the year 2030. Among these goals, SDG 6, clean water and sanitation, ensures availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. Today, 2.2 billion people lack access to safely managed drinking water, and more than 4.2 billion people lack safely managed sanitation. The decade for the Decade of Sustainable Energy for All is the initiative of United Nations. Renewable energy is a form of energy that is not the cause of pollution nor has its adverse effect on natural resources. Sustainable energy is the seventh goal of the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals SDGs, with a call to ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all by 2030. The Sustainable Energy for All initiative acts in support of the 2014 to 2024 Decade of Sustainable Energy for All as declared by the United Nations General Assembly. Which of the following is the nodal institution for implementation of Sustainable Development Goals in India? Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog, National Institution for Transforming India, is the nodal institution for coordination and implementation of Sustainable Development Goals in India. World Environment Day is celebrated on 5th June. World Environment Day is celebrated on 5th June every year. China was the global host of 2019 World's Environment Day with air pollution as the theme of that year's edition. In 2021, the theme of World Environment Day was ecosystem restoration. Ecosystem restoration. The World Environment Day is celebrated on June 5th. The book Silent Spring, published in 1962, which set the tone for an environmental movement in the world, was written by Rachel Carson. Silent Spring is an environmental science book published in 1962. It was written by an American biologist and ecologist, Rachel Carson. A country's natural capital included all of the following except roads and included forest, water, and minerals. Natural capital includes all renewable and non-renewable environmental resources. It includes air, water, land, minerals, and forest. In other words, only those resources which are created by nature without any human interference can be deemed as natural capital. Hence, road cannot be included in the country's natural capital. Natural resources in inexhaustible resources and exhaustible resources. Inexhaustible resources includes solar energy, wind energy, tidal energy, rain, and atomic energy. Exhaustible energy and exhaustible resources, renewable resources and non-renewable resources. Renewable resources includes forest, pasture, forest, pasture, water system, agriculture system, wild animals, soil. Non-renewable resources includes biotic and abiotic component. Biotic resources are biotic species. Abiotic resources are petrol, coal, gas, gypsum, metals. Different types of natural resources. Next is, what is the theme of World Environment Day 2018? Beat plastic pollution. India was the global host of 2018 World Environment Day to 5th June. At the 5th June, the theme of this year's edition was Beat Plastic Pollution. China was the global host of 2019 World Environment Day. The theme for 2019 was Air Pollution. In 2020, the theme of World Environment Day was Biodiversity. The theme of 2021 World Environment Day was Ecosystem Restoration. Pakistan acted as global host of the day. The main role of the solar radiation is in water cycle. The water cycle is driven primarily by the energy from the sun. The solar radiation drives the cycle by evaporating water from the ocean, lakes, rivers, and even the soil. It forms water vapor and clouds where water droplets eventually gain enough mass to fall back to earth. The water cycle is essentially a closed system, meaning that the volume of water that is in the hydrosphere today is the same amount of water that has always been present in the earth system. National Environment National Environmental Engineering Research Institute is situated at Nagpur. The National Environmental Engineering Research Institute (NEERI) is a research institute created and funded by the Government of India. It was established in Nagpur in 1958 as Central Public Health Engineering Research Institute CPHERE with focus on water supply, sewage disposal, and related diseases, and to some extent on control of industrial pollution. NEERI is a pioneering laboratory in the field of environmental science and engineering and part of the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research CSIR. NEERI has five zonal laboratories at Chennai, Delhi, Hyderabad, Kolkata, and Mumbai. NEERI falls under the Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India. When and where the National Environment Engineering Research Institute (NEERI) was established? Nagpur, 1958. What is important for sustainable development? Conservation of biological diversity, prevention and control of pollution, decreasing poverty. Conservation of biological diversity, prevention and control of pollution, decreasing poverty, all are important for sustainable development. It is imperative for achieving the goals of sustainable development to make policies on information about our environment and ecology. Presently, sustainable development has become an alternative approach to the theories of development. Certain information are required for policy formulation on sustainable development. The common carbon metric supported by UNEP has been developed for assessing the carbon footprint of building operation around the world. Common carbon metric for measuring energy use and reporting greenhouse gas emission from building operations. Leading experts from around the world have, through extensive international cooperation, developed a universal method of measuring a building's carbon footprint. The common carbon metric is the calculation used to define measurement, reporting, and verification of greenhouse gases emissions associated with the operation of building types of particular climate regions. While it is not a building rating tool, it is consistent with methods for assessing the environmental performance of buildings used globally, such as the World Business Council for Sustainable Development (WBCSD), World Resources Institute (WRI), Greenhouse Gases Protocol, etc. Which of Which one of the following is not the objective of a smart city development? Wrong answer is stabilizing quality of life. And which are the following for the objective of a smart city development? Good governance, clean city, clean green city, and smart mobility. The Smart City Mission is an innovative and new initiative by the Government of India to drive economic growth and improve the quality of life of people by enabling local development and harnessing technology as a means to create smart outcomes for citizens. The core infrastructure element of the mission are adequate water supply, assured electricity supply, sanitation including solid waste management, efficient urban mobility and public transport, affordable housing especially for the poor, robust IT connectivity and digitalization, good governance especially e-governance and people's participation, sustainable environment, safety and security of citizens, particularly women, children and the elderly, health and education. Earth Summit was held at Rio de Janeiro. The first Earth Summit by United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development was held in Rio de Janeiro in 1992. In 2012, the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development was also held in Rio and is also commonly called Rio Plus 20 or Rio Earth Summit 2012. What was the title of the Rio minus 20 declaration or Rio 20 declaration? The future we want. The United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development UNCSD, also known as Rio 2012, Rio Plus 20 or Earth Summit 2012 was third international conference on sustainable development hosted by Brazil in Rio de Janeiro. The primary result of the conference was the non-binding document, The Future We Want, a 49-page action plan. The first such summit was held at Rio de Janeiro. International conference held in Rio de Janeiro was United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development. International conference held in Rio de Janeiro in 1992 was the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development. What is the thin layer of gases around the earth called? Atmosphere. The thin layer of gases surrounding the earth is called the atmosphere. The majority of Earth's atmosphere consists of a high amount of nitrogen along with smaller amounts of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Air is an Air is a mixture. Air is a mixture of gases by volume. About 78% of mixture of nitrogen and 21% of oxygen. Carbon dioxide, argon, methane, ozone and water vapor are also present in very small quantities. Percentage of nitrogen in dry air is 78%. The air around us is a mixture of gases, mainly nitrogen and oxygen, but containing much smaller amounts of water vapor, argon, and carbon dioxide, and very small amounts of gases. Gas and percentage: nitrogen N2 78.08%, oxygen O2 20.95%, argon air 0.93%, carbon dioxide CO2 0.036%, neon Ne 0.002%, helium He 0.0005%, krypton Kr 0.001%, xenon Xn 0.00009%, hydrogen H2 0.00005%. Which of the following is considered to be optimum concentration of carbon dioxide for natural balance in atmosphere? 0.03%. Which one of the following noble gases is not present in the air? Radon. In the atmosphere, the highest percentage is of nitrogen. The highest percentage of gas in the air is nitrogen. If all the plants and trees vanish from the earth, the gas will be decreased is oxygen. We need oxygen to survive and we depend on trees to provide this oxygen to make food for themselves. Trees go through a process known as photosynthesis where they take in carbon dioxide from the air and release oxygen back into the atmosphere. Which of the following is not a function of tree air pollution, and which are the following are function of tree absorption of carbon dioxide, absorption of noise, releasing oxygen. Trees contribute to the environment by providing oxygen, improving air quality, climate amelioration, conserving water, preserving soil and supporting wildlife. Hence, they clean the environment and are not the reason behind air pollution. In addition to this, trees in both sides of roads reduce the sound pollution by reducing the intensity of sound by 10 to 15 decibels. Consider the following 2, 3, and 4. Which of the above add carbon dioxide to the carbon cycle on Earth? Respiration, decay of organic matter, and volcanic action. In the case of photosynthesis process, trees gives carbon dioxide trees gives oxygen to the world and takes carbon dioxide. The decay of organic matter, volcanic action, respiration, and burning of the fossil fuel, etc., contribute carbon dioxide to the carbon cycle, whereas plants use carbon dioxide in the process of photosynthesis. Thus, plants do not add carbon dioxide to the carbon cycle, rather, they release oxygen and consume carbon dioxide. Three natural allotropes of element carbons are fullerene, graphite, and diamond. Besides, as a compound, it is found as carbon dioxide, carbonate, and hydrogen carbonate. Which of the following does not add the carbon dioxide to the cycle of the planet Earth? Photosynthesis. And rest are respiration, decay of organic matter, and volcanic action contribute to add carbon dioxide to the carbon cycle on the planet Earth. The concept of weathering relates to natural process leading to the decomposition of rocks. Weathering is defined as the mechanical disintegration and chemical decomposition of rocks through the action of various elements of weather and climate. Weathering processes are conditioned by many complex geological, climatic, topographic, and vegetative factors. The headquarters of World Meteorological Organization is located at Geneva. The World Meteorological Organization (WMO) provides a framework for international cooperation in the development of meteorology and the operational hydrology and their practical application. WMO originated from the International Meteorological Organization (IMO), which was founded in 1873 to facilitate the exchange of weather information across national borders. WMO became a specialized agency of the United Nations on 17th March 1951. Notably, World Meteorological Convention was implemented on 23rd March 1950. It has its headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland. The headquarters of UNEP, United Nations Environmental Programme, is located at Nairobi, Kenya. UNEP, United Nations Environmental Programme, was established in 1972. Its headquarters is in Nairobi, Kenya. Inger Anderson of the Denmark is currently the executive director of the United Nations Environmental Programme. Where is the headquarters of the UNEP? That is Nairobi. Where was the fourth session of UN Environment Assembly UNEA 4 held recently? Nairobi, Kenya. The fourth session of the United Nations Environment Assembly UNEA 4 took place from 11 to 15th March 2019 in Nairobi, Kenya. The theme of UNEA 4 was Innovative Solution for Environmental Challenges, and Sustainable Consumption and Production. It is noteworthy that the fifth session of UNEA took place virtually in Nairobi in February 2021 under the theme Strengthening Action for Nature to Achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. A resumed in in-person session of UNEA 5 is scheduled to take place from 20th February to 2nd March 2022. What does EPA stand for? EPA stands for Environment Protection Agency EPA. That is Environment Protection Agency. See, Environment Protection Agency EPA is an agency of the federal government of United States which was created for the purpose of protecting human health and the environment by writing and enforcing regulation based on the laws passed by the Congress. It was established on 2nd December 1970. Next question is, in which of the following institutes the Environmental Information System INVIS ENVIS Center on Population and Environment is located in IIPS Mumbai? The Environmental Information System INVIS Center on Population and Environment is located in International Institute for Population Sciences IIPS Mumbai. NEA stands for National Environment Authority. The National Environment Appellate Authority NEAA, better known as NEA, was set up by the Ministry of Environment and Forest to address cases in which environment clearances were required in certain restriction areas or certain restricted areas. It was established by the National Environment Appellate Authority Act 1997 to hear appeals with respect to restriction of areas in which any industries, operations, or processes shall or shall not be carried out, subject to certain safeguards under the Environment Protection Act 1986, on the establishment of National Green Tribunal on 18th October 2010, under National Green Tribunal Act 2010, the NEAA stands dissolved. Let's repeat this. The National Environment Appellate Authority NEAA, better known as NEA, was set up by the Ministry of Environment and Forest to address cases in which environment clearance were required to certain restricted areas. It was established by the National Environment Appellate Authority Act 1997 to hear appeals with respect to restriction of areas in which any industry's operation or processes shall or shall not be carried out, subject to certain safeguards under the Environment Protection Act 1986, on the establishment of National Green Tribunal NGT on 18th October 2010. Under NGT Act 2010, the NEAA stands dissolved. The headquarters of the Greenpeace International is located at where? Amsterdam. Greenpeace is a non-governmental environmental organization with offices in over 55 countries. It is headquartered in Amsterdam, Netherlands. Greenpeace states its goal is to ensure the ability of the earth to nature life in all its diversity. Eco mark is given to an Indian product which is environment friendly. Eco mark is a certificate mark issued by the Bureau of Indian Standards BIS, the National Standards Organization of India, to products conforming to a set of standards aimed at ensuring the least impact on ecosystem. The marking scheme was started in 1991. To label environment friendly consumer products, the government has introduced EcoMark. EcoMark scheme was instituted by the Government of India for labeling of environment friendly products. Notably, this scheme is being administered by the Bureau of Indian Standards BIS. It is important to mention here that the scheme covers products categories like soaps and detergents, food items, lubricating oils, packaging and packing materials, architectural paints and powder coatings, batteries, electric and electronic goods, food additives, wood substitutes, cosmetics, aerosols and propellants, plastic products, textile, fire extinguisher, leather and core products. According to Sustainable Development Goal SDG, India Index 2019 recently released by Niti Aayog, which state holds the first position? Kerala. SDG Sustainable Development Goal India Index 2019-20 released by Niti Aayog was launched on December 30th, 2019. Kerala achieved the first rank in the index with a score of 70, followed by the Himachal Pradesh 69. Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and Tamil Nadu were ranked at the third position with the score of 67. In July 2021, the third edition of SDG India Index 2020-21 was released with a composite score of 75. Kerala topped the Niti Aayog's index. Second and third position was obtained by Tamil Nadu and Himachal Pradesh respectively. Which of the following states is not in the list of top 5 states on the Sustainable Development Goals Index 2019-20? Gujarat. According to Niti Aayog Index 2019, top 5 states are respectively Kerala, Himachal Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, and Karnataka. Sustainable agriculture means to utilize land so that its quality remains intact. Sustainable agriculture is the production of food, fiber, and other plants or other animal products using farming techniques that protect the environment, public health, human communities, and animal welfare. In short, it is proper utilization of the land without affecting the environment so that its quality remain intact. Use of chemical fertilizer and pesticides has adversely affected soil health. To cope up with this National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture (NMSA) has been formulated for enhancing agricultural productivity, water use efficiency, promoting nutrient management, and livelihood diversification through the adoption of sustainable development pathways. Which one of the following states in India has recently introduced as greenhouse farming? Punjab. Mark of Punjab and Sayag Group of Israel signed an agreement to grow vegetables in greenhouses farming on 21st April 2001. Greenhouse farming is the unique farm practice of growing crops within sheltered structures covered by a transparent or partially transparent material. Given below, there are two statements, assertion A and reason R. Natural vegetation is the true index of climate. Assertion A. Natural vegetation is the true index of climate. Reason are water-loving plants are found in the moist climate. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. Natural vegetation is the true index of climate and an increase in the quantity of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere also affects the natural vegetation. Water-loving or aquatic plants are those which are found mostly in muddy land and near the ponds. They are found in the moist climate. Reduction of moisture in the atmosphere results in the erosion of such plants. Next is urbanization and industrialization are harmful for all, for balanced development, environment and ecology, for biodiversity conservation. Extreme urbanization and industrialization are harmful to balanced development, environment and ecology, and biodiversity conservation. Thank you very much.